Okay, as one of my viewers put it, this... oh god, this week's Chainsaw Man Tuesday is absolutely diabolical. It's also mental in that Denji and Yoru were both pierced through the noggins, but also mental in that, wow, the frick, that ending was insane, and because of it, oh my god, we need to break down this chapter and dive deep into that mind freak of an ending. Real quick, if you could drop a like and subscribe, you'd help me out a ton, but also join my Discord server. Every evening EST time, I am in there playing like Cyberpunk on very hard, a 100% playthrough of Persona 5 Royale, and I just watch tons of anime, cartoons, stuff like that, new and old. It's a clucking good time, as Bucky would say. I hate that thing. So this chapter was, it was godly, biblical even, I would say. And a twist I never expected to see. It seems that right on cue, Asa Yoru's death was simply a red herring. No, that wasn't the thing that was expected. But Denji and the balding guy were both hit by Falling's bombardment. Also, rest in peace, this random guy in his underwear. At least you died in comfort, my friend. But this means that at least Denji has some blood to drink, I guess, which will probably be from the bald guy's corpse, which may be a callback itself from when Angel drank the blood of a dying woman in the Bomb Girl arc. As well, you know, with the ending in this chapter, it would thematically make sense to have a Bomb Girl callback right about now, wouldn't it? I also need to talk a moment about the art of this chapter as well, because to me, at least, it seems that Fujimoto and his team have really outdone themselves this week. I don't think I've seen a character being My cat just knocked my gamer subs cat ears cup over. But I don't think I've seen a character being pierced through the skull looking this good since, well, actually not quite sure what to compare that to, but I think you get the sentiment. This should make the Fujimoto can do nothing right crowd not happy at all. That I am sure of. But I bring this up because maybe Fujimoto is gonna get some new assistants and some new staff? Because seeing as we're headed into a brand new insane arc with an insane new fight with a ton of big moments probably, I mean maybe Fuji is hitting at an uptick in the so-called quality, even though Chainsaw Man's art is still good in my opinion. That's just me though. That's just me. Another cool art detail is we see a more clear image of all the weapons Asa and Yoru have created, and they're quite funny. One looks to be made out of a decoration for an ice cream shop or like an Olympics baton or something. I can't tell, but it is hilarious. Another looks to be made out of like a weight. One is a kitchen knife, and one of them looks like a dumbbell too. Another is a razor or like a box cutter blade. That one just looks like something out of Gundam. And the sword, which got Denji in the gut, it just looks cool, I guess. But for the most part, it seems Yoru prefers big Buster Blade swords you see Cloud use in Final Fantasy. That's pretty neat, a neat personality trait, which is also awesome. I think that totally fits Yoru, as she is so egotistical and probably believes bigger is better. I can make so many degenerate jokes, but I'm actually going to hold back this week. It's staying in my pants, fellas. But I will be experimenting with cutaways this week, so look out for those to catch your attention. So, Falling finally sees how she overcooked Asa, Yoru, Denji, and a comfortable dead guy. And I love how Futanari has to show Falling in these giggle-worthy ways, like when she says, "Oh dear." We just see her from her upper chest down to her shins. Something about this framing just makes me giggle. And it always seems to happen with her for the most part. She's just so unwitting, and it's just funny. And she is honestly surprised to find how easy it is to take out Yoru, and she even wonders, hey, maybe her memory of her was wrong. After all, she had heard stories that long ago she was a much more frightening devil. And I think this is subtle, but shows maybe directly the influence Asa Mitaka, fun name to say, has on the people in her life, especially Yoru. It just goes to back up my view of Asa, that she is this positive girl in a world that is very negative, which makes her seem jaded and pessimistic. It is clear to me that whoever she gets attached to, and you can watch my 2 recent videos on this for more details on that they in some ways change for the better. Where the issue typically comes in is Asa is much too quick to give up herself for others, and that is when bad things start to happen. Maybe I'm just looking too much into this moment, who knows? But can I just say, God damn, look at how Yoru is so quick that, like Black Chainsaw Man in the blink of an eye, unleashes an onslaught onto Falling with some killer art to boot. It seems that Yoru, at every counterattack by Falling, has an answer in some form, taking Falling off guard, as evident by her confusion. Falling gets diced up like she's being served like a corn dog on Emerald Live. And even then, she has a fight in her as she tries to catch Yoru off guard, but yet again, she has an answer for that as well. She grabs the tendril and crushes it with her fist, and at this point, I'm like feeling how falling must have felt, because I'm asking myself, how in the hell is it that in chapter 208, Yoru can't do jack to falling, but now in 209, one chapter later, she can body falling like I bodied yesterday's cheat meal in 5 seconds?
Honestly, man, Domino's pretty much cooked this week. Oh, I'm so...
And also, why in the hell is Yoru crying? That shouldn't be possible, she's a devil. Well, things start to become clear, much more clear. Yoru begins to cry because she begins to remember something she was forced to forget long ago, something that we can go back to her introduction in chapter 98 to immediately recall. The literal foundation of her motivations as a character in the series. Confused as to how she can even remember it now, she then uses her fists to explode, falling in an explosion of guts, calling back to 98's classic class prez guts explosion. I don't know what you would call that. I would call it a guts explosion. But Yoru then walks over to Denji, and her attention is drawn to the report on the news, breaking news in fact, with the ongoing war between the USSR and the USA. America has developed a brand new weapon that they have dropped on several cities. And this weapon they had developed was planned to at one point be used on devils. But as new breaking information comes in, it becomes 100% clear as to what it is. It's a bomb-like weapon using uranium and/or plutonium, something they call atomic energy, and America is using it as a way to end the war between these two nations swiftly. Of course, I am talking about nuclear weapons, boys! We just went full circle! And somehow America was able to develop a nuclear weapon to end the war between the USSR and themselves. Maybe, possibly. We don't know that. There are so many theories as to what this could possibly be. So, getting into those theories, how was Pochita able to throw up weapons? Even Yoru herself asks how it was even possible for her to remember them. Is this just a case of Americans finding a way to create it despite having no knowledge of it? No, because Pochita's abilities work in the sense that anything erased also physically ceases to exist, on top of having the concept and the memories erased. So just how did Pochita throw up nuclear weapons when we haven't seen Pochita or Denji throw up anything since the Aging Devil arc? This is what is confusing me, but may also have to do with the blade through Denji's gut, possibly? I don't know. Maybe this is an instance where in the chaos of the Falling Devil attack, the blade somehow forced it out of his guts, or maybe it just happened off page somewhere. Or maybe I forgot and I'm embarrassing myself. I hope this is explained soon in some form, even if it does embarrass me. Another thing is this. The reporter described the weapon as a bomb, which is yet another confirmation of Bomb Girl being alive, which has to obviously be talked about. Fujimoto, I think he is absolutely going to do something with Rize again, and I think all of these subtle hints to her throughout Part 2 are pointing to her return either near the end of Part 2 or in Part 3. Bomb is... that word is such a trigger word to use a Chainsaw Man, and was 100% intentional by him, not because of the circumstances of the scenario, but because he wrote that line and could have used any other way to describe it. And yes, I understand it's a translation. I do not think Rize will return in Part 2, but I do think that will be a thing for Part 3, likely along with Control, Blood, Kishibe, and hopefully the Kobeni, along with the weapons. I also think that, and this is getting into another theory entirely, it is interesting that my idea of Denji turning into Yoru's #1 weapon because of her love for him was a nice theory, but this is clearly wrong. This is clearly Yoru's #1 right now. Nuclear weapons is going to make Yoru the most powerful being on the planet outside of Death and the Darkness Devils. Maybe. Because this report described the bomb as something originally intended to be used against devils, and for good reason. Nuclear weapons atomize and destroy all matter in its destructive wake. You can't stop nuclear fission. It is basically just as powerful as Pochita's concept erasure. So where do we go from here? My guess, guys? Abyss of Terror, I assume. Right? All of this has got me thankful because the bi-weekly devil is dead for this week, but here are some things we do need to keep in mind. I don't think we should expect Bomb Girl to return, but I do expect from here on out more subtle hints to drum up hype for her return later in the series. On top of that, we should expect a more robust explanation of some kind as to what nuclear weapons returning means for Yoru and Devils, and the war between the USSR and the USA. Does this mean World War III will happen? After all, the USA wanted to use the weapon to stop the war, just like they did in 1945, some 50 years ago in the Chainsaw Man universe. All roads, guys, may lead to World War III, and if that does happen, then there isn't much more that could be more terrifying than Yoru. Another is Yoru's secret plan that also revealed to Denji some chapters back. How does this unspeakable secret shape up now with nuclear weapons coming back into existence? My guess is that we will be finding out what that secret plan is probably within the following weeks. We will just have to wait though and see what happens, but Chainsaw Man just became, yet again, a must-read weekly series with this arc. Things are about to kick up, my friends. Buckle up. Thanks for watching! Be sure to check out this video on the screen here, and if you haven't, drop a like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on Chapter 209. Make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.